Okay, Dave.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Roll call, Michelle.
Avon,
Here.
Caledonia, Canisius,
Here.
Geneseo,
Here.
Groveland,
Here.
Lester, Lima,
Here.
Livonia, Mount Morris,
Here.
North Dansville,
Here.
Nunde,
Here.
Ashen,
Here.
Portage,
Here.
Sparta,
Here.
Springwater, West Sparta, York.
Here. Okay, ask Sparta Supervisor Mark Schuster to please lead us in the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the meeting minutes for your consideration of our last regular meeting, September 14th. Does anyone have any corrections or changes they'd like to bring forward? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion in a second, please.
Move Schuster.
Gonzalo seconds it. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? They're carried. Some communications, Michelle?
Receipt of summons and complaint in the matter of Stephen R. Miniman and Deborah A. Miniman versus County of Livingston et al. The next conversation with the county will be held on Thursday, September 29th, 2022, at 5:30 PM at the Leicester Town Hall, 132 Main Street, Leicester.
Thank you, Michelle. We have abstract of claims for consideration.
Mr. Chairman, I move this abstract of claims and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this abstract of claims? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon,
Aye.
Caledonia, Canisius,
Aye.
Geneseo, Groveland,
Aye.
Lester, Lima,
Aye.
Livonia, Mount Morris,
Aye.
North Dansville,
Aye.
Nunde, Ashen,
Aye.
Portage,
Aye.
Sparta,
Aye.
Springwater, West Sparta, York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted.
Next, we have a request for privileges of the floor this afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, I request privilege of the floor for James Perino, who's the Public Health Deputy Director, and June Webster, the Medical Reserve Corps Coordinator, for recognition of the Medical Reserve Corps.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Good afternoon, everybody. So introduce me as June Webster. I am also the emergency planner for Livingston County Health Department. And as the coordinator of the Medical Reserve Corps, it works well together because it then helps me keep an eye on both ends about our planning and also coordinating our volunteers. I just want to thank the board first for all your support and also allowing us to have the floor to recognize our Medical Reserve Corps members for their 20 years of service. A little history on the beginning of the Medical Reserve Corps. After the planes crashed in the World Trade Center in 9/11, volunteerism soared, and it was triggered, and so many people came out. Medical volunteers showed up to make sure that victims at Ground Zero were taken care of. They found a very chaotic scene, and at this scene, they just took charge. They started helping the victims, and they tried to make out some sort of manner that they could operate under. They organized themselves, and then they began to triage those victims. A second push to the MRC's creation was a response to the anthrax letters in 2001. And the administration realized that should large-scale mass dispensing or mass vaccination be required, the United States would need a group of organized volunteers who were ready to respond. So without this happening, we may not have had volunteers to help us that were already trained. So something's happened for a reason in life, and that was one of the good things that we did have our MRC volunteers. The volunteers Sorry. In response to all of this, in 2002, the State of the Union address, President Bush asked all Americans to volunteer in support of their country, and the Medical Reserve Corps was founded. So in 2021, during COVID, Ian Coyle also asked Livingston County residents to consider volunteering with the Medical Reserve Corps and assist the Livingston County Department of Health to meet the needs of our community. This led to an enormous influx of volunteers that supported the Department of Health's infrastructure and still does. Medical Reserve Corps volunteers have supported the Livingston County Department of Health for those past 20 years. We've had over 300 volunteers throughout these years, some years 20, some years 30, some years like 2021, we had over 250 people in it, which was a large influx. A lot of them went back to their normal other volunteer duties afterwards in their jobs, but some of them stayed with us. It helped numerous communities through different activities. These volunteers have completed various trainings and participated in numerous drills and exercises with the Department of Health staff every year to ensure that they will be ready. Every year, we have to have a drill on mass dispensing or mass vaccination. So with that, ever since I joined or started at the Department of Health and before, they've always been doing exercises. And some of you have been at our exercises and witnessed all the things that we go through. We actually have it in the building, we pretend that there's victims coming through, and it's a long process. And you know, everybody after us, like, do we have to do this again? Well, we showed why we really have to keep doing this. So we do not, or that we are prepared for everything. The other activities that they do help us with is outreach education at various events. Some of that is promoting health habits, emergency preparedness information, helping get it out there about how to be prepared for like tornadoes and the winter months and even the hot weather. And then also recruiting for MRC, because you never have enough volunteers when something happens. Doing COVID vaccine clinics, they help that too. And they assist in many, many ways. They help with reading, with registering people, vaccinating, and also assisting those community members to navigate through these clinics and whatever else we need. We have rabies clinics. Every year we do 5 of them at least. And our volunteers drop the vaccine for the veterinarians, which is very hard on their hands. We actually have 2 volunteer nurses that go out and do this at every one of them now, because one nurse wasn't enough. Their hands were getting really sore, and our numbers are really high. This year alone, we've done over 900 vaccinations for rabies. We also do distribution events, which we've worked with OFA, Office for the Aging, for food distribution. We help us put out test kits and masks in different areas in the community. We also, in the past, have done a collection event for Puerto Rico when they had the hurricane down there and devastated. So we did a collection over the highway, working with the New York State Police to gather some things and take them into the actual state police pick them up. We also have volunteers that work at wellness events that provide blood pressures and first aid when we're doing our races. And then they also help with office support, answering phones, especially during COVID. Our phones were ringing a lot. The list goes on. There's many, many activities, and I probably have missed some, but there's tons of activities that these MRC volunteers help us with. I remember when I first started at the Department of Health as a part-time, and I was doing childhood obesity, and they said, you gotta put all these kits together because we're gonna deliver them to the schools. Like, how am I going to do hundreds of these kits? And they were quick kits, they had a ball in them, and they had all these things. I said, oh, we'll just call them MRC volunteers. They called them, and they came. And they helped put all these bags together. I never would have been able to do it by myself, and they were such a great help. and they were dedicated, they were so fun to work with. So it was really a great introduction for me. While many of our volunteers work or volunteer for at least one other program, some of them could be here today because of that. They're out there working, a lot of them work for hospice in different areas. They work at Teresa House. They work at tons of different volunteer agencies, or they work part-time or per diem. So we have a few of them with me today. I'd like to have them stand up when I call their names. Travis Spratt. Beth Spratt. Julie Carney. Renee Davis. Patty Levine. June Spratt. Stanley Thomas. Gail Yunker. John Yunker. And Vicki Ann Cunningham. Vicki Ann is also my assistant, my chair for this committee that helps. So she also helps with the volunteers. These volunteers have been with us from the very beginning and are still with us. So that shows, and some of our volunteers, like I said, they only came for one day. I'm going to share a couple quotes with you about what our volunteers have said about volunteering and why they assist our community. As a recent retiree when the pandemic hit, I remember sitting at home and worrying and wishing there was something I could do to help. I also had some struggles with the isolation of COVID. When I was approached to volunteer at a vaccine clinic, I never thought it would turn into more than one day. But I kept coming back for more and offered as many days as I can. It was pretty wonderful to help people in my community and love knowing so many of those people that came through my mind. I felt connected again. And instead of being immersed in stress, stuck at home, I felt that I was doing something important that provided benefit to my entire community. This is another one. I volunteer with the Livingston County Health Department of Medical Reserve Corps because I believe in giving back to my community. With my background in healthcare, the most appropriate thing for me to do is find a healthcare opportunity. Many years ago, I did some of the MRC training, but found that my work, family, and professional association responsibilities did not give me the time to do the MRC. Now that I am semi-retired, and especially with the country in the midst of the COVID-19 healthcare crisis, stepping up was the right thing to do. Another one, I was called to help through the Geneseo Rotary Club. In February 2020, COVID vaccine clinic members were needed in Livingston County. Monmouth Rotary reached out to Geneseo Club for more volunteers to staff the clinics. I was retired and could volunteer to help on pre-scheduled days. Although the vaccine effort we had to enroll as a medical volunteer coordinator. She went through really well. I was glad to be part of the solution to get through the COVID pandemic. One last one. I joined MRC in response to a plea for help with the COVID vaccines last year. As an EMT, I took a class that enabled me to administer vaccination. As a recent retiree, I now have more availability, so it worked out that I can help with several clinics in multiple roles. Most people coming to these clinics were very appreciative, and that alone tells me it was a worthy cause. I volunteer elsewhere in the community as well because I feel it's important to contribute when and where possible to help others. Personally, perhaps selfishly, there's great satisfaction in helping your fellow people in learning professions. The impact of helping is not always directly seen, but is appreciated, and more importantly, necessary thing for humankind. Now, how do I describe my volunteers? They're leaders, they're dedicated, they're reliable, they're compassionate, and they care about their community. I look forward to working together with these volunteers for the rest of my career. In closing, I would like to thank the Board of Supervisors for your support and for giving the floor to us to formally recognize the dedication of these volunteers and to celebrate the Medical Reserve Corps' 1-year anniversary. There will be refreshments available at the adjournment of your meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joe. We want to thank all the volunteers, all that you do to make Livingston County special here and just appreciate everything greatly. So
Thank you.
I think we should give We do have a few resolutions on the preferred agenda for this Michelle.
Adopting revisions to the Livingston County purchasing policy. Declaring surplus property, Sheriff's Office. Resolution opposing recently enacted New York State legislation regulating legally authorized concealed carry gun permits and banning concealed carry in public places.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on resolutions in the preferred agenda? Hearing none, I look for a motion and a second to bring these to a
I'll make
vote.
the motion. Lester.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. If you would, a roll on these three, Michelle, three resolutions.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia.
Aye.
Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted.
We do have some resolutions that are going to require a separate roll call vote.
Mr. Knapp, establishing standard workday and retirement reporting credits.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, on the roll, please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland. Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted. Amending the 2022 Livingston County budget, central services, there are two, mental health, and office for the aging, there are also two.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any discussion or questions on these budget amendments? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia.
Aye.
Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia.
Aye.
Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted. Authorizing transfer of funds, Department of Health, there are two.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this transfer of funds? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia.
Aye.
Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted. Authorizing a professional services contract for 457 and 401A deferred compensation plans. Valak Retirement Services Co. doing business as Corbridge Financial.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia.
Aye.
Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia.
Aye.
Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted. Authorizing conveyance of county properties acquired by tax deeds.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any discussion on this conveyance of county properties? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted. Accepting the report from the Committee on Workers' Compensation Insurance regarding the estimate and apportionment of county self-insurance for the year 2023.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia.
Aye.
Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted. Amending a portion of resolution number 2022-326, conflict defender.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia.
Aye.
Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted. Adopting benefits for the Livingston County employees not covered by a collective bargaining agreement for the year 2023.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia.
Aye.
Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland. Lester. Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen. Portage.
Aye.
Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1817, absent 192, adopted.
Ian, do you have any updates for the board this afternoon?
Yeah, a couple things. The first is that there was a reference to the external audit RFP on the Ways and Means Committee agenda Monday. We're still in the review stages of that, so that'll be on the next Ways and Means Committee meeting. You should have on your email boxes, the latest bi-weekly report on the operations and finance updates for the nursing home. So any questions on that, please let me know. We are working on the shared services grant. So again, since I've got you all in a room, reminder, we've got a few suggestions and ideas on that from some of the towns and villages. So keep those coming. Joe and I will be working on putting that together. The 2023 budget is in the works. We've kind of got some first looks at the tax rate, tax levy. Obviously now we work on the edits and the adjustments to the numbers to try to present you here with a finished product here soon as far as the draft budget. I want to personally thank the MRC for all their work on their 20th anniversary, in particular with COVID-19, the extra hands and the extra bodies and the extra layers of support that were able to be provided by that group was instrumental in the county's ability to meet all the service obligations we had over the last couple of years. So I want to personally thank them as well. And I didn't want to steal their thunder because we got the thing outside, but kind of buried here in the corner, which will hang out outside once we get around to it. The county did win an award for one of just two awards nationally in this category for it was called Community Equity and Inclusion, but the award was for the county's interdepartmental efforts on anti-poverty. So the plan that we call Thrive Livingston, we were actually an award winner for that. So kind of a write-up and some pictures on the award are up here. So board members, if you want to take a look at that before you head out and get some snacks, I encourage you to do that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any other business come before the board this afternoon?
Move to adjourn from Geneseo.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Our meeting stands adjourned.